Sorry, Hannah, you had some question for me?
We're live.
Well, we're live. Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is Hannah, and I'm part of the Injective Protocol team. Today, I'm going to be interviewing two amazing panelists, Ganesh Swamy, who's CEO and founder of Covalent, and Eric Chen, who's CEO and founder of Injective. So it's great to have you guys here. Both Covalent and Injective are, in their own ways, working to elevate the DeFi user experience to new levels. So I'd like to start this conversation by having each of you describe what it is that your company does and focuses on. If we could keep our answers to about 2 minutes each, that'll leave time at the end for some closing thoughts. So let's get started with you, Ganesh, and then move on to Eric.
Thanks, Hannah. I'm one of the founders of Covalent. What Covalent builds today is a unified API to pull out balances and positions and historical granular transaction activity from DeFi protocols. We are a team of about 20, mostly based here in Vancouver. We have over 80 customers and lots of blockchains that we index. And yeah, that's basically it about Covalent.
Yeah, hey guys, this is Eric from Injective Protocol. So Injective is a fully decentralized layer 2 derivatives exchange protocol focusing on currently spots, perpetual swaps, expiry futures, and many more interesting derivatives.
Awesome, thanks guys. Injective and Covalent's new partnership enables everyone to access better on-chain data. This data then provides valuable insights into the domain of DeFi. Can you give us a little bit of background about this partnership and tell us more about your shared goals? We can start with you this time, Eric.
Yeah, so currently one of the biggest problems we're facing is essentially because we have a decently fast block time, querying and keeping like an up to date kind of on-chain state and on-chain data is pretty cumbersome. We've tried subgraph, we try to feel like indexing solutions, and generally like, the worst case that can happen is that indexing these transactions might take longer than block production itself. So yeah, so super excited to work with Covalent on this, like to kind of like solve this common problem, and just in general, like focusing on expanding, indexing and querying for L2 solutions in general.
Awesome, thanks, Eric. How about you, Ganesh?
So a simple way to understand what this partnership means for an end user is that if you're using Binance or Coinbase, you can just go to their interface and download a CSV of your historical transactions. This could be for record keeping, this could be for taxation, this can be for compliance, whatever that use case is. When it comes to these decentralized exchanges, it's not clear who is responsible for providing that end user experience. So that's really what the gap that Covalent aims to solve. So we provide CSV exports. That's just one use case of what Covalent is. So pretty excited about Injective because I think their architecture is very, very novel. They're solving a genuine need. They're very smart team, and truly honored to be collaborating with Injective on this partnership.
Thanks, Ganesh. This next question is for you. So once live, Covalent will index the Injective chain. This will expand the capabilities of the platform through, for example, analytical dashboards and terminals. What else can we expect to see from this partnership, and what does this mean for the Covalent ecosystem as a whole?
Absolutely. So one of the challenges that this ecosystem has is the decentralized nature of these products leads to a very disjoint user experience. So I don't imagine that Injective is going to be 100% of the user interface. At the end of the day, it is a protocol, and Injective will be one way to access the liquidity and the trading functionality. There's going to be numerous interfaces for the Injective protocol. And that is what we want to enable for the entire ecosystem. By enabling the data access, by enabling the APIs, and able to pull data out of Injective, you can have a mobile experience, you can have automated bots, you can have arbitrage bots, you can have all kinds of experience, and the entire ecosystem benefits just from a user experience perspective, from a liquidity perspective, and just an integrated experience. So I think that's what I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Eric, Injective has been working with the Graph on similar efforts to strengthen Injective's ecosystem. What can we expect to see next from Injective? For example, will you be introducing new derivative products that are based on the native Covalent token?
Yeah, that's something that I'm extremely excited about as well. Just in general, the permissionless and also the composable futures kind of like a market creation interface allows us to, utilize or anchor around a certain Oracle solution and create almost, unprecedented access to different types of markets and different types of, risk exposure. So one of the things that we're really excited about is that basically for a general user, long as you have the proper Oracle system set up, or maybe there's already a very stable stream of Oracle data feed, you can create the most popular spot markets out there, and that includes obviously the Covalent tokens associated with it. So I think that's something that we can see the community utilizing it extremely heavily, and that will really grow the ecosystem. Because at the end of the day, like what Injective focuses is the base layer infrastructure for derivative creation. We want to make sure that essentially, like if there's a market that you want users to get exposure to, or you want to get exposure to yourself, you don't need to kind of like beg a certain platform to do it. You just simply list this market almost like a Uniswap nature, and kind of like bring kind of like an unprecedented access to these type of markets and potentials to the broader user base.
Ganesh, Covalent recently joined Etherpunk 2021, providing bounties through Covalent's 1 million wallets campaign. Tell us a little bit more about these exciting new community initiatives and what's in store for 2021. And then afterwards, Eric, if you could also share your thoughts on what this means for the DeFi community, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So 1 million wallets is one of our marquee campaigns that we launch for developers. And if you look at what's happening in the wallet ecosystem, there's not a lot of diversity. All wallets are pretty much, they look the same, they're all trading focused. But if you look at the diversity of use cases and products on the blockchain, be it NFTs or be it social tokens or all of these emerging trends, a trading focused wallet just doesn't cut it. And so the idea behind the 1 million wallets is Covalent provides the data layer, and then we provide these code samples and these tutorials for developers to build interfaces. And you can just fork the code and build your own custom interface. We ran this with Gitcoin in December, and we saw hundreds of these wallet interfaces being built, just literally hundreds. They're all like custom different for different use cases, some for Axie Infinity, some for audio NFTs, all kinds of things. So with Etherpunk, Matic is our base layer chain. So that is an example of a campaign that is very successful. We're again going to see hundreds of wallets. The results are yet to be out. So that's what the 1 million wallets is about. Our goal is to create 1 million wallet interfaces. I think we're well on our way there. So excited about that. With regards to Covalent itself, so far Covalent has been a centralized SaaS solution. So it's not different from Stripe or any of these centralized SaaS products. And that's great. It helped us find product market fit. It helped us become profitable. It helped us recruit a team and go to market. And that was the fastest way to bring a solution to market. But it's not really future-proof, and it's not really within the ethos of blockchain systems. So the next evolutionary step for Covalent is to decentralize Covalent and give the power back to the people. So something I'm hoping in the next couple of months is projects and partners like Injective run a portion of the Covalent network so they have full sovereign control over the future of their data. Because this data belongs to the people. It's not data that belongs to Injective or not data that belongs to Covalent. So we have to get back to that kind of ethos. So that is what is exciting about Covalent. Stay tuned for our public announcement about our token sale, all of the exciting stuff. And that's all I can share at this moment.
Yeah, likewise. I'm extremely excited about what Covalent is working on. Just in general, there's almost like two worlds that the DeFi traders or like DeFi users are living in. There's the front end interface, and everything that's being displayed by some public tools or like public analytics platforms. For example, if I want to gain risk exposure to like a certain token, I would just go on Uniswap. They'll just quote me to a certain slippage based on the amount I'm looking for. And that's pretty much it. There's not much information being given. I don't really know what's the current on-chain stats. Whatever gas auction is going on, I probably won't be able to monitor it. There are some tools, but I'm not even exposed to it. So this is why I believe like data should be really democratized at this moment, because the traders are looking at a completely different world. They look at all the arbitrage opportunities, all the slippage requirements. How can they possibly profit on this? All the minor extractable value events going on, all the gas auctions. It's a completely different world, and kind of from like a traditional HFT's perspective, 1 microsecond is to 1 second, as 1 second is to 11.57 days. So what I'm really excited about, just in general, by democratizing, removing the sovereignty of data from all these like traders, and also people who are living and breathing in the blockchain state, through some exclusive APIs, is that like most of the users are going to have eventually a level playing field as all these traders.
Awesome. Eric, Injective recently introduced Equinox staking. This achievement allows both validators and delegators to stake on Injective. Could you tell us a little bit more about the role of validators and delegators, and what are the unique and different ways that traders can earn on Injective? And then after you've discussed this, I'd like to invite Ganesh to weigh in on how Covalent's data analytics can come into play in future staking programs.
Yeah, Equinox is so essentially throughout the entire phases of testnet, we want to focus on a specific demographic of the kind of like Injective community, right? In previous article, we mentioned there's so many different types of stakeholders and participants within the ecosystem that we can bring into. And so Equinox is really for us to focus on, kind of like the on-chain participants, like the anyone that's beyond the end user, anyone that's beyond a trader. Obviously, trader can be part of this demographic, but like this is a different focus that we're going for to test. So as a validator, obviously your task is to secure a network. Your task is to decentralize, the entire exchange infrastructure, and to make sure that everyone is playing on a level playing field. That's why we go for a pseudo random. That's why we focus on like a geographically diverse set of validators, so that this way, if this trader just so happened to be closer to a certain validator, he will lose that edge for the next block. So on the other hand, for delegator, obviously, validator can't just amass all the stake in the world. That's why delegator is so important. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to delegate. We want to make sure that everyone is educated and learn about the delegation process. And as a matter of fact, currently for Equinox staking, we're going to be utilizing real-world tokens. So real Injective tokens will be used. People can actually deposit it into an audited contract live on Ethereum mainnet very soon. And this way, they can get the entire sensitive flow from depositing into the contract, seeing it live on Injective chain, and really tinker with it. And we'll also make sure they are exposed to every single governance component of it, to really make a network, first of all, more robust, and make sure that everyone kind of like get used to the governance process of it, because it is a little bit different from the ETH governance, where in a sense that you have a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do and what you can vote on. And yeah, like the most exciting part I would say right now is that there's a lot of features that we're testing out that could really benefit ecosystem participants. For example, a new idea that we've been playing around with, obviously this is only in like research stage, is that if you stake into the Injective proof of stake consensus, you might be able to get an exchange fee discount. So there are so many things we want to test out and see if it works, if it benefits all the community participants. And yeah, like this is what I'm absolutely looking forward to.
Thanks, Eric. Anything you'd like to say, Ganesh?
So I'm not a trader, so I cannot speak with the level of sophistication and the brilliance that Eric just shared. So I'm just going to talk about this from a layperson's perspective. What is very interesting about staking is that it makes these blockchain networks financial products, as in you can go in and you can buy a product, own a piece of something that's generating some kind of yield, and you can mix and match to get almost like a structured product. So that is what is very, very exciting. And we have a couple of projects in the works where we're building the analytics where you can mix in a couple of staking programs, you figure out what the yield is, and then what you're comfortable with. And just like how you would go to a financial advisor and pick a product based on your risk reward profile, it'll be kind of the same when it comes to these staking programs. So from a layperson's perspective, that's very, very interesting. And all of these proof of stake networks opens up the space to regular retail investor, mainstream investors, because they understand a product, they understand the yield. They don't really care about blockchain and governance and all that stuff. They just want to delegate their tokens and earn a yield on that. So that is what I'm excited about.
Awesome. Ganesh, in December, Covalent partnered with Terra Virtua to provide deep granular data on tokenized collectibles. Could you share any insights that you have gathered since this partnership began? And then Eric, I'd like to hear from you too, as I know we have also been looking into the NFT space. So.
Absolutely. So NFTs are a huge research focus for us at Covalent from a data and opportunity perspective. So since the Terra Virtua partnership, we are working closely with them to create these investor dashboards for mainstream investors. So what's interesting about Terra Virtua is that they're away from the crypto ecosystem. They have access to traditional intellectual property from the big studios like Marvel and Disney, and they're creating NFTs that tokenizes the intellectual property, which appeals to a mainstream audience, which means those guys don't really care about MetaMask or any of that stuff. So there, we are behind the scenes providing the dashboards and the data for investors to understand the collectibles. So there's a lot going on there. But since then, we've actually dug deep into the NFT space. We probably have another dozen projects that we've onboarded, all the way from NFTX, which is index funds on NFTs that provides liquidity, to Chain Guardians that's doing something very, very interesting, to a couple of machine learning projects. And fundamentally, this is the story. The data on the blockchain is a mess, and NFTs especially so. One of the core problems here, the biggest insight in my learning, which is quite shocking, is that the metadata for these NFTs, which is the attributes and the images and the actual metadata, is off-chain. And a lot of the data is actually on Google Drive and these proprietary closed APIs, which who knows who's going to maintain them 2 years from now. So yes, blockchain data is immutable, except when it comes to NFTs. So I think just the whole setup is not set up right. And I think please wait for some exciting announcements in that area where we are partnering with another exciting project to bring a solution to market. So I would say that is our biggest insight and biggest learning, which is it's a mess.
No, I agree. I think just in general, like I'm still looking at the NFT space from like kind of like almost like a late adopter, like FOMO, almost in a sense. Just seeing this entire space, like growing and kind of like really reaching like mainstream adoption, mainstream participation. That's just really interesting to me because I remember back in like 2018, my co-founder was working on something that was like multi-tier fungible token, which is like essentially it's a ERC7. Basically, it's like a non-fungible token that's composable between like a fungible token, like a ERC20. So yeah, so I think like that was kind of like my first look into the NFT space, and now like kind of looking at it 2 years later, it has definitely evolved a lot. It has definitely changed a lot, and I mean, just in general, it's kind of like a personal passion, and kind of like a personal interest of mine. So like look into art space, to like look into like digital art and tokenizing it and really creating like a unique identity. I think that's always been the core ethos of crypto and blockchain is that this is non-replaceable. This is going to live on forever, and this is kind of like a certificate system that's always going to be unique in a sense, right? So yeah, I think it's super interesting, and we've actually been kind of like working on something, at least me personally, helping a friend to like do something along this space. So super excited when it comes out.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for your answers. That's my last question. So now I'd just like to open up the floor for you guys to discuss any points that we may have missed in our conversation.
Sure. So I actually have a question for the audience, for Eric, for you, Hannah. It's not related to Injective. It's not related to DeFi. It's not really related to blockchain or anything. But it's about how do you build culture in a remote environment? So we're about 20, 25 people, and we all live in Vancouver, which is a beautiful place. It's a bright, sunny day. You have access to the beaches and the mountains and the forests. But how do you build culture? How do you build that that sense of we're working on the same thing? What's happening today is that my relationship with my team is purely transactional. When I message someone, it's always for a status update or what's going on in this. It's not like, hey man, let's just go grab a coffee. And it's never like, what do you need from me? No, I need nothing. I just need company to go grab a coffee. So what are your how do you guys deal with this? Okay, I guess.
Eric, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was muted accidentally. So I said like basically right now both of our companies are around the same scale, around the same size in terms of like what we can communicate with the rest of the team and what we can kind of like the communication friction. It's always like single layer, so it's a pretty flat management layer. So I think that's kind of the advantage that we're working with. Obviously, when we reach 50 people or 100 people, that's a completely different story, and that's when like you're no longer the kind of like representation of the culture. Like the C-suite is no longer in full control over like what not full control per se, but like full like communication with the rest of the team, right? So currently, I would say like right now, it's definitely try to get to know everyone, really talk to them on like a more personal basis. Just even having like weekly calls, just like on personal updates, and really getting connected to them without like beyond the all the elements around work is already a very substantial kind of like reinforcement of culture, right? Because at the end of the day, for a small team, whatever you write, whatever you say, whatever you try to implant in people is not enough. It's really about who you are as a person and how you convey that to the team. And for us, that's really about talking to the team more, talking to like really just like talking to them in like a non-transactional basis. I think that's really the strongest first step. There's not really like a tricky way or like like some sort of management trick to this. It's honestly like a lot of work when it comes to like keeping it updated, like asking about how they're doing, really remembering what they're up to. I think that to begin with is already honestly pretty tough for a lot of management teams.
Yeah, I think Eric does a great job at cultivating that because we spend so much time, trying to establish our overall community, but to do that from within is like you have to take the time to really foster that and even like staying in contact and encouraging each other on the small goals that are met. That's really pivotal in the grand scheme of things. So I agree with you both.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, completely different story when like it's like 50 or 100 people. That's gonna be hard.
Absolutely. Well, if there's anything else that we didn't discuss today related to things that are coming up or the partnership, feel free to jump in and talk about that.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you guys and look forward to doing it again in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you
Cheers.
so